I have things to do.
Was it an emergency?
No.
Good. Let's have a cup of coffee.
I already had mine.
Listen, why are you avoiding me?
Who says I am?
You do, loud and clear.
All right, maybe I am.
No maybes about it, you are. Now, my next question is why?
Stella? Stella, did you bring the paper in yet? Confound that woman. She's never around when you need her. Oh, well, here goes.
Will you need to be making a statement today, Mr. Quartermain?
Why don't you fellas get out of here?
Mrs. Putnam going to stick by her husband?
How did you fellas get in here anyway?
Has Mrs. Putnam told you how she feels about being betrayed by the man she loves?
That is none of your business.
How do you feel about having a former DVX spy on your...
The same way I feel about having you fellas swarming all over my property. Now, will you get the hell off, please?
Mr. Quartermain, wait a minute.
Where's the audit?
The reporters again.
Oh, Celia.
I can see them from my window.
Well, don't you worry. They're not going to get in here.
Hey, why don't you guys get out of here, okay? Now, come on, get out of the way, all right? Get out of the way. Open up, it's me.
It's the old man's son. Hey, what do you know about what's going on inside?
Open up, it's Jimmy Lee.
It's rumored you had an affair with Mrs. Putnam before her marriage.
Would you knock it off,
You gonna continue your affair with her
Open
now
up.
her husband's out of the picture?
Get out of here.
That little altercation necessary?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. I've been dying to pop one of those reporters for days. What are you doing here, anyway?
I want to see how you were doing.
Yeah. Very poorly. As you can see, the whole damn place has been under siege.
Well, hi, how are you?
How do you think I am?
Well, by the looks of it, you look a bit tired and upset.
That's right.
Well, good. Then I'm glad I'm here. Anything you want, anything at all, just ask.
No, that's all right. Though I could use some tea.
Tea. I'm great at making tea.
No, that's all right. I'd like to do it myself. I need to get my mind off some things. If you'll excuse me.
I could use some coffee.
Amelia, you'll find some here in the living room.
Edward, she doesn't look too well.
Well, is any wonder? Between that telephone ringing off the hook and those vultures camped outside, nobody's gotten a decent night's sleep around here in days.
I can't believe it. How could that husband of hers do that to her?
To all of us.
Yeah. She's a special lady. She was mine.
Well, she's not yours.
That's not what I meant. What I
Yeah,
meant
I
was
know
that
what you meant, Jimmy Lee, and I also think I know the real reason that you're here.
I came here because I was worried about Celia.
Yeah, so you thought you'd come sniffing around here and start things up again, huh?
Look, Edward, it's not what you think.
Look, Jimmy Lee, when it comes to your motives, I know very well what you think. You're like all Quartermains. You don't do anything unless you stand to gain by it.
Okay, look, I don't blame you for suspecting my motives. But this time, you're 100% wrong.
Oh, am I? Grant's in jail. He's lucky if he gets out in about 150 years. Celia's very vulnerable, so you're aiming to make your move.
I care for her, all right? But I've given up on having a relationship with her.
Since when?
Since I finally got it into my thick skull.
Look, I know from experience you don't give up very easily.
Well, I didn't. But she told me again and again and again, and I finally got the message.
No ulterior motives, huh?
Maybe just one.
Yeah, I suspected that.
Celia's family. And I care about helping my family.
That's a very noble sentiment. I'm not sure I buy it.
Why not? I helped you. When Monica was kidnapped, I stayed with you. And I took care of Jason when he needed to be taken care of. I mean, I had nothing to gain from that.
No, I suppose not.
Edwin, how long do I have to keep on proving that my feelings for you and this family are real?
All right, so you really want to help us, huh? How?
You name it.
Getting rid of those reporters would be a neat trick.
I can do that.
Yeah. I saw how delicately you handled them earlier.
I'll get a couple of security guards, post them around the grounds, and nobody will get to the house.
Security guards?
That's right. I'll get them from the waterfront construction development. I'll put them around the house, and I'll be it.
Not a bad idea.
I'll get right on it.
Hey, Why don't you go out through the den door? That way you won't have to run that gauntlet out front.
Okay, and if there's anybody out there, I'll give it to them, too.
Hey, Jimmy Lee.
Yeah.
I thank you. Well, that's the good news. Now the bad.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, what is it, Celia?
Mr. Meyer is here to see Mrs. Putnam.
Well, don't let him in here.
He's already in the hall.
Oh, really? Well, it would give me the greatest pleasure to toss him out on his crooked ear.
It's urgent that I see...
You have a lot of nerve showing up here.
It's urgent that I speak with Celia.
The Quartermains do not talk to Grant's lawyer.
I think that's up to Celia, don't you?
I can speak for Celia.
Thank you, Edward, but I would rather speak for myself.
Come on, sit down, please.
Brock, I told you I have things to do.
You have plenty of time to get to the hospital.
I don't like being dictated to.
And I don't like unfinished business.
Neither do I, and I have a lot of it waiting for me at the hospital.
You have plenty of it here at home. Now, come on, sit down. Sit down. Now, I want an explanation about your attitude this morning.
Seems to me you're the one with the attitude.
Now, look, we're just talking in circles, Bobbie. Now, I just want you to say what you have to say. Okay, and I'll tell it the way I see it. I think you're still mad at me because of yesterday.
I don't like having to take sides against my brother.
No, I don't expect you do.
Don't you?
No, I understand that you'll take sides, that you'll stick up for Luke.
Good, because I intend to, always.
Well, Luke isn't infallible.
He is in my book.
I don't understand this blind allegiance to Luke.
When it comes to Luke, you're either for him or against him.
Now, are you implying that I'm against him?
You tell me.
I have worked my tail off for this campaign.
Why?
Why? Why are you suddenly questioning my loyalty to Luke?
I'm questioning your motives.
I want Luke elected mayor.
So you could have the mayor in your hip pocket, as you once said?
Now, wait a minute. What do you think? I'm using Luke for my own personal gain?
Sounds that way to me.
Now, there is nothing wrong with having a friend in political office.
Brock, you do things for your friends because they're your friends, not because they're going to do something for you.
Now, wait a minute. You do not go into politics for your health.
Are you using Luke?
Let's just say I'm making use of Luke the same way that Luke made use of me and my contacts.
My brother does not use people.
Now, wait a minute. What do you think? He hired me for his campaign manager because he's my bosom buddy? This is the real world, darling. Wake up. I scratch his back, he scratches mine. Luke would be the first one to say that.
I doubt that.
Well, I'm sorry about that because I expected a little more loyalty from you. I love you, Bobbie, but I wish that you would grow up.
You're under no obligation to talk to this man.
Yes, I know that, Uncle Edward.
I simply want to ask you a few questions.
Don't you think this young lady's been through enough embarrassment without you poking into her private life?
Grant needs your help, Celia.
You expect her to help him after what he did to her?
You're still his wife.
Don't let him play with your emotions.
I can handle my emotions.
No, you can't, Celia. You're very vulnerable right now, and it's up to the family to protect you from people like this.
Thank you. I appreciate your concern, but I can take care of this myself.
You are in no condition.
I will not make the same mistake I did in letting Daddy get me away from the hospital. Robert needed me desperately to help find Luke and Holly, and I wasn't there for them.
Well, that's no reason to help this man now.
I'm not the enemy.
No, just his mouthpiece.
Look, Grant is entitled to a fair hearing.
Not in this house, he isn't.
You feel the same way?
I would like to talk to Mr. Meyer alone.
Celia, you're making a big mistake.
Well, then at least it's my mistake. It's my decision. I know what I'm doing.
I don't think you do, but obviously I'm never going to convince you of that. All right. I'll be upstairs if you need me. And you better be damn careful what you say to her.
Don't worry, I will.
Well, I will get Stella to get some more coffee.
Of course, General Hospital knows the difference between a spy and a doctor. What do you think we are? Yeah, well, you know, I could say the same thing about you. You're the one who's been making the stupid remarks for the last 5 minutes. General Hospital is not an anti-American espionage. Listen. I'm at the end of my shift right now, and I'm really tired. And you're about the 47th call I've had in the last 8 hours. No, I'm not going to relay your message to the Chief of Staff. However, I might give it to the Chief of Garbage Collection. Goodbye.
Something wrong?
This phone has been ringing off the hook. The crazies are having a field day with this information about Grant Natalie.
That figures. They've been calling my house, too.
One lady even called me saying that she wanted her donation from the hospital charity fundraiser back because she didn't want her hard-earned money going to help topple the American way of life.
How can anyone in their right mind blame the hospital for what's happened?
They're not in their right mind. Answer one of these phone calls and you'll see for yourself.
Well, you have my permission to hang up it.
Thank you.
And I want you to do something else.
Cut the phone cord?
This is not a laughing matter.
Yes.
I want you to keep a sharp eye out for reporters.
Why?
Because I don't want any of them coming in here and harassing the staff about Natalie and Grant.
Oh, I got it. Like looking for an exclusive, I operated with a spy and stuff like that?
Just make sure no reporter goes beyond this desk and relay that message to the next shift.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't look too cheerful.
Oh, you won't be after you answer these phones for a while either. Everybody in the world is calling trying to find out about Grant Natalie.
They come crawling out of the walls, don't they?
Yes, and by the way, Dr. Hardy does not want any reporters going past the front desk.
Fine.
I am so glad it is time for me to go home. It's not time for me to go home. Bobbie, what are you doing here now?
I'm looking for Ruby. I wanted to talk to her before we both get too busy.
Luke really blew it this time. Huh?
Have you seen her, Amy?
She's in the cafeteria with Dan.
Thanks. And for your information, Ruby and I are very proud of what Luke did.
Hi there.
Well, we were wondering when the press would rear its ugly head. I suppose this is a real emergency, huh?
No, not exactly, but I do need to see a doctor. Two of them, as a matter of fact, the Quartermains. Could you tell me where I could find them?
I'm so sorry, but I'm not allowed to give out any information to people like you.
Amy, I'll be in the cafeteria when Monica comes out of surgery. Tell her to meet me, please.
Thanks a lot for your help, Amy.
Celia, I'm going to get right to the point. I'm here to ask you to testify on Grant's behalf.
What?
Now, I know how you must feel about everything.
No, you don't. You have no idea how I feel.
I'm not here to condone anything Grant did.
He married me under false pretenses. He lied to me. He used me.
He also saved your life in the end. Surely that tells you something.
How do I know there wasn't an ulterior motive for that as well?
There was. He loves you.
Why am I supposed to believe that?
Celia, I'm a lawyer. It's my job to know when a person's lying and when they're not. Grant told me he had nothing to live for without you. He was telling the truth.
He said that?
Yes, he did.
When I went to visit him yesterday, he asked me to forgive him. He begged me to say that I didn't hate him. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I just couldn't.
You don't hate him, do you?
No, I don't. It would make things a whole lot easier, but I can't do that either.
Why?
Because there were times when he did try to warn me, and there were times when... I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to rationalize what he did.
No, Celia. Tell me, what is it he did?
He saved my life.
When?
Well, there was an incident with my hairdryer. I could have been electrocuted, and Grant revived me. And then there was that scorpion in my bed. I know that if Grant hadn't gotten it off there, I would have been stung.
But instead, it stung him. He almost died for it. Celia, Grant risked his life for you.
Yes, I know.
But don't you see, it's that kind of testimony coming from you that'll give you a chance to save his life now.
He was so desperate once, he tried to run away.
Without you?
I convinced him that I should go with him.
Was he going to turn himself over to our government?
No, I think he just wanted to get away.
Oh. Well, I don't think you should mention that in the testimony. Everything you say has to appear positive.
I would not know what to say. What would be wrong to say? What would be right to
Celia,
say?
trust me. I'll go over everything, all that stuff before you have to go on the stand. Trust me. Are you unsure of me? Is that it?
No.
This kind of case is a first for me. I have to admit that. But Celia, I'm a fighter. I'm going to do everything I can to get Grant off.
I know you will.
Now, what about you?
I don't know. I am just not quite sure that I am willing to help them.
Dr. Quartermain, I'd like to talk to you for a minute, if I may.
I don't have anything to say to the press.
I think you'd be doing yourself a favor.
I hardly think so.
So, you're going to continue to cover up your involvement with Grant Putnam, is that it?
Our family knew absolutely nothing about Grant's activities.
Then why not put the record straight, huh?
All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes.
You know, Ruby, if I had a nickel for every cup of coffee drunk in this hospital, I'd be a millionaire.
I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I'll put a cup marked down right next to the coffee machine.
5-cent donations accepted. I like it.
Hi, Dan. Ruby, can I talk to you?
Well, of course you can. Come join us.
I was just telling Ruby about the stack of paperwork I had on my desk.
You deserve every nickel you get, Dan Rooney.
Thank you.
Oh, you look like you need a cup of hot tea.
I need to talk.
Brock.
Ruby, last night I found myself having to take his side against Luke.
What?
Oh, Luke got angry at Brock over his take charge attitude, and Luke said to Brock that he shouldn't expect any favors if Luke is elected mayor.
What did Brock say?
Not much. I tried to cool them both down, but Ruby, I don't like this.
You think Brock is using Luke?
Practically said so this morning.
Honey, half of politics is giving a favor.
Is it about using people, too? Because if it is, how do I know Brock isn't using me?
Why?
To get to Luke.
Oh, honey, he was crazy about you long before Luke ever said he was going to run for mayor.
Who's the one who suggested Luke run for mayor in the first place?
Brock. Look, honey, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that Brock is crazy about you. But if you don't believe it, I can't help you.
One thing I know, I can't put off telling him I'm pregnant any longer.
No, you shouldn't.
And this baby is the most important thing in the world to me. If Brock's using me, I want to know about it now so I can make plans for the baby.
Well, then why are you thinking the worst?
Ruby, I've decided I'm going to tell him tonight.
Good. Then you'll find out how he really feels.
How many times do I have to tell you that we didn't have any idea that Grant was a spy?
You really expect my readers to believe that?
I couldn't care less what your readers believe.
No, but you should. I mean, any suspicions they might have about you could affect the finances of your family.
How do you figure that?
Who's going to want to do business with a family who harbors enemies of the United States?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You don't really think that our family harbored an enemy agent?
Well, the Quartermains have been known to cover up for their own before.
Grant Putnam's not a Quartermain.
No, but he married one.
She didn't know that Grant was a spy.
Well, so she says, but she was madly in love with him. Does that mean that she's going to come running to her husband's defense?
She's not going to go anywhere near him.
Oh, I think that remains to be seen.
Well, then she will.
Monica, before you say anything, this is Ian Shelton of the Port Charles Herald.
Yes, I know who he is.
You were saying something about Celia going to her husband's defense?
No, I didn't say that at all.
But you think she might.
I think it's up to Celia to decide what she's going to do.
And then the family will obviously back her if she does decide to stand by him, right?
Never.
Why not?
Because our family won't allow her to defend him.
Oh, I don't think it's up to the family to make that decision.
It most certainly is, because it's our reputation that's at stake.
Considering the reputation of our family as it is, I don't think we really have much choice, Alan.
Do you think that our family wants to have anything to do with associating with a spy?
I think our family should keep its nose out of other people's business.
Monica, you better listen to me just one...
You getting a kick out of this?
Yes, I am.
Ah, it won't be anything like the kick you're going to get if I see one word of this in print. Alan, let's go. I think you've done enough damage for the day.
This is the last interview you'll ever have with our family.
Oh, well, it's been plenty, thanks.
Celia, you must support Grant.
Why do you insist on putting me in this position?
Because the entire outcome of this case may depend on your testimony.
Well, what if I say something wrong?
Don't you see just the fact that you're testifying for the defense is in our favor?
No, I don't know.
Celia, just say you will for now. At least it'll give me something to base my case on if Grant's prosecuted.
What do you mean, if?
Well, there's still a chance Grant may not go to trial.
I don't understand.
The WSB and the State Department are battling with the U.S. Attorney's Office for jurisdiction. Grant's willing to give them very valuable information if he can get asylum in this country.
You mean that he won't have to go to jail?
Not if the U.S. Attorney's Office agrees not to prosecute. But until I'm sure they're not going to prosecute, it's my duty to give Grant the best possible case.
Well, it's not my duty, Mr. Meyer.
Celia, if you don't decide to help me now, chances are you'll be called as a witness for the prosecution. Now, that would mean a certain verdict against Grant. They'll twist everything you say to suit their own purposes.
They cannot call me as their witness.
Oh, excuse me, but they can.
Aren't you forgetting something? I'm Grant's wife. And under the law, I cannot be called upon to testify against my own husband.
Yes, that's true, in most cases. But I don't think it applies here.
Why not?
Grant married you under false pretenses. They may declare the marriage invalid. So if you don't decide to testify for the defense, the prosecution will have every right to call you as a witness for them.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Celia, I know you may not want to testify on Grant's behalf. But are you willing to testify against Grant and possibly send him to jail for the rest of his life?
General Hospital will continue in a moment.